Two Broke Betters, presented by Garrett and Dallas Walker.
Welcome to this Saturday's edition of Two Broke Betters. I'm your host, Garrett Hollenbeck, and this is my co-host, Dallas Walker.
Yo, 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 another new setup.
I've got to be honest, I think Dallas probably agrees with this one. This one's one of my favorite weekends of sports, just in general for the year. You've got the SEC Big 12 Challenge in college basketball, which I think is the two best conferences in all of college basketball right now, as well as Sunday's conference championships and the NFL playoffs, which feature, four amazing teams in the NFL playoffs and then some great college basketball matchups. I think we need to start this video by saying the last couple of nights we sort of struggled with our picks. We went 1-5 the other night and then 1-3-1. Not great. Total of 2 wins. So we looked up some rituals, some different things. Everything we saw said we need to have crystals strategically placed to get the juju going, to get the momentum going in our favor. So we've got crystals. We will be placing them strategically around the setups as we make our picks. So just understand that as you're tailing our picks, we've got the good juju going with us this week. We've got
There's a reason we got the crystals.
Yeah, we've got the crystals. And they're strategically placed.
I'm in the dark. I've got the hood up. I think we all know what that means. I flipped over the dark side. It's time I'm taking a ride with the dark side.
It's Hoodie Dallas.
Hoodie Dallas. You know what that means.
We've got crystals. We've got Hoodie Dallas. It's time to jump right into the SEC Big 12 Challenge, starting out with LSU and TCU. This game, I took over 124.5. I think both of these teams have good defenses. The offenses sort of struggle, and that's why they see this point total going so low. But I think the value here is in the point total. I think they undervalue LSU's offense because they've been so poor on offense as of late, but that's been with a very injured Darius Days and without Xavier Pinson, who seems to be their two go-to guys. Eric Gaines has been very good while they've been out, but he's not going to be able to do it all by himself and to provide enough offense by himself. So I think bringing those two back, Darius Days has been back the last couple of games. He just hasn't been 100%. So I think bringing those players back leads to the game going over 124.5.
I like that. LSU is going to need to score because I've got them winning and covering by 2.5. Surprisingly, TCU is better away from home than at home. They were like 4-1 against the spread away from home, under 500 at home. I feel like I say it every video, but defense travels. Yeah. Like you just said, LSU's defense, crazy good. It goes with them wherever they go. And I mean, it also helps them that their only game plan needs to be stop Miles McBride. I've watched TCU play a couple times. Their whole offense runs through him. So I feel like if you stop him, you win the game handily.
Yeah, I definitely think LSU will win. They've been sort of inconsistent as of late, but I feel like this is a really good position for them to get a key win in the SEC Big 12 Challenge. Start out the day going strong for the SEC. Going on to the next game, we have Dallas's team, the Auburn Tigers, and the Oklahoma Sooners.
My team being the Sooners.
Personally, I like Auburn to not really bounce back, but sort of bounce back after that last performance against Missouri and cover the 9.5-point spread. Dallas has preached this all year that Auburn covers the spread almost automatically. Definitely playing. Isn't this a home game for Auburn?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, definitely with this being a home game for Auburn, I could see this being a 20-point game easily.
Yeah, I like them covering as well, but I like the over 135.5 just like a tad bit more. Auburn has one of the best home courts in all of college basketball. I think they've proved that at this point. They average 80 points per game at home. Uh, I think they'll get Oklahoma's best game. The problem with Oklahoma, even their best game, they're just really a streaky team. We've talked about that a couple times. So my only fear is just them getting hot. You never really are supposed to bet on that, but with the over being as low as it is, and if Auburn even reaches its average, you're only asking Oklahoma to get 56 points. So I like the total there. Yeah, like the total.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Auburn's home court has been amazing this year. It can cause havoc, and I think it will, especially with an Oklahoma team that whenever I've watched, they've been sort of timid. They force a lot of unnecessary turnovers, so that could definitely play a factor in this matchup.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next game, we got Arkansas and West Virginia. Two teams that have been incredibly inconsistent. Arkansas has sort of cleaned up some of those mistakes they were making earlier in the year, and they've pieced together a couple wins. Dallas, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, it's like you said, Arkansas has they're on a 4-game win streak right now. They're playing really good. They beat a couple really tough SEC teams, Texas A&M, Ole Miss at home. And on the flip side, West Virginia's on a 4-game losing streak. I think though that it'll be a really good game, just because once again I'll harp on it. Defense travels. West Virginia, great defensive team. Arkansas, like we just said, streaky, inconsistent. And West Virginia definitely has the coaching edge. I expect Bob Huggins to, get his team going. It's going to be a big day. So a 7.5, too much for this game.
Yeah, definitely. I will say West Virginia, whenever I've watched them, they are just not fundamentally sound at all. So this is another one sort of like the Auburn one. I think Arkansas's home court could get a little rowdy and cause some unnecessary turnovers and just mistakes by that West Virginia team. So I think Arkansas is going to win here. I don't know. I'm not confident enough in picking one or the other. I'm just going to go with Arkansas winning this one.
Yeah.
Going on to the next matchup, we've got Iowa State and Missouri. I think Missouri shocked us in a couple. They really hate Alabama teams. They beat Alabama twice. They lost to Auburn by 1. That's why I'm going to go with Iowa State here, because besides those Alabama teams, Missouri has gotten clobbered by any decent team that they play. They've lost almost every single game this season by double digits. So I'm going to go with Iowa State at home in this matchup. Iowa State -9. Especially, you can't really say this is a letdown spot, but Mizzou was not expected to hang with Auburn. And I think they sort of put all their energy into that game and then ended up losing by 1. I bet they come out flat here, and Iowa State just destroys them.
Yeah, I have literally the exact same thing as you. What I said was this is Missouri's hangover game. It's like you said, they just put everything they had into that Auburn game, came up, just barely short. Honestly, should have won. And not only that, they're playing another team that has a really good defense that really takes a toll on you. I don't know. Missouri's played up to Alabama team competition, but I don't think they have enough talent to compete with 2 top-tier teams in the same league. So I'm with you.
Yeah.
I've got Iowa State at -10.
Yeah. Going on to the next game, here we're going to talk about the other Alabama team, Alabama and Baylor. This one, we've stayed away from Alabama after they've been incredibly inconsistent this season. This spread seems too low. 3 points, I feel like it's a trap. I'm going to go with Alabama +3 here. They play up to their competition. They play down to their competition. I think they're going to play up to their competition at home. They're going to have a lot of energy at home. I think they're going to cover the 3-point spread.
This is my favorite game of the slate. I've got Alabama money line. I'm right with you on that. I think they play down to competition. And like you just said, I was just going to repeat what you just said, but yeah, big trap game. But one of the key things that sticks out to me, like I said, I don't know if it ever got posted or whatever, but I said in the last, when we talked last, that I did like Georgia to win the game, and we kind of laughed about it, but it was like I said, they were one of the top teams that gets their points from free throws. Baylor is 346 at their percentage of points from free throws. Their top 5 scorers on the team are guards, which is not how you beat this Alabama team. You beat them because you get their bigs in foul trouble because their bigs are garbage. But yeah, I think they're perfect. I think this is just a perfect storm for the upset. Alabama at home. I've been at the crowd. They get rowdy. They get awfully rowdy.
I just
I
have
like
to throw
Alabama.
This in. I have to throw this in with your point about getting their bigs in foul trouble, just because I like this guy's name. Flo Thamba is not going to do that for Baylor. You think with that name, he's going to go in there and score 40 points and get 20 rebounds, but he's not Oscar Tshiebwe. He's just
Nope, he's not. Neither is Bediako, though. Bediako, probably the most overrated player in the SEC.
So I think, yeah, we both like Bama in this one. I would probably go Bama money line if I was throwing money on this one. But this one's one of my least confident ones just because it is definitely a trap game.
I love it, y'all.
Moving on, Texas Tech, Mississippi State. This one's one of my favorites. I think Texas Tech plays awesome at home. And I think on the flip side of that, Mississippi State is 0-4 on the road this season. So that's why I'm going to take Texas Tech -7.5. I don't think this Mississippi State team is very good. I think if Kentucky had maybe 3/4 of their roster last game, we would have kept the 15 to 20 point lead we had on them. Instead, we let that slip up and ended up winning by 8. But that's fine with me. I'm going to go Texas Tech -7.5 here.
Yeah, we talked about Mississippi State a little bit in passing, and you kind of brought up a good point that this team is really good on paper, but they just don't mesh. Molinar is really good. I like him. But as far as them as a team, not only are, like you said, 0-4 away, but they're not even competing. They're 1-3 against the spread away. Like you said, Texas Tech, great home crowd. Another hangover spot for an SEC team. Mississippi State played their hearts out against Kentucky. I'm with you. Texas Tech -7.5.
Yeah. And the other thing with Molinar being such a great player, Texas Tech's known for their defense. I think Mississippi State doesn't create enough defensively to win this game. A bunch of their points were Kentucky falling asleep at the end of the game and them finding backdoor cuts and wide open shots or just crazy circus shots going in. So
yeah.
I don't think Texas Tech's going to make that same mistake. I think they win this one pretty easily. Going on to our next matchup, this one is the game of the night, the game of the weekend. I think the game of the year was last weekend, but I don't think that really lived up to expectations due to Ty getting injured so quickly. I think if Ty plays in this one, Kentucky and Kansas is going to be the game of the year. Two of the biggest blue bloods in college basketball, the two most winningest programs of all time. Top 15 matchup between the two teams at Kansas, which is one of the greatest venues in college basketball. This one, just like last weekend, relies on injuries. I think if Ty Washington plays, Kentucky wins. If he doesn't, I'm going to go Kansas -5. It's that simple. I think if Kentucky's fully healthy, they are easily a Final Four contender and a national championship contender.
Yeah, I didn't really have any notes on this game, but it's like you said, two blue bloods. I didn't do any research or anything, but I feel like every time I watch these games play, they're just super high scoring. So I did go with over 153. It seems like I don't know, the game that just comes to mind when I think of these mid-season out of conference games is the one where y'all played UNC when Kentucky had Malik Monk and
Yeah.
they had Justin Jackson. But yeah, I like the over here. Kansas, super good scoring team. Kentucky with Ty, good scoring team. Even without though, can put up points at the very least. So I like over 153.
Yeah, I will say that 5-point spread is pretty big considering the last couple times Kentucky's played in the SEC Big 12 Challenge. I know we played Texas Tech really, really close, and it went into overtime at their place a few years ago. Same with West Virginia. We played there whenever they had Javon Carter, and that one went down to the wire with Kentucky coming back from a 17-point deficit. And then the last time we played Kansas at home was also very close. So this brought out the best in the teams in the matchups with Kentucky, and they have all went down to the wire. So moving on to our next game and what is the final game of the SEC Big 12 Challenge. This is the Rick Barnes Classic, Texas and Tennessee. I don't expect a lot of points here, but I'm not going with the total. Both of these teams are horrendous on offense and great at defense. But what I'm going to point out here is how bad Tennessee is on the road. Since when was it? Since the start of the season, Tennessee is 2-4 on the road, with those two wins coming at Vanderbilt and at Colorado. They got demolished by LSU and Kentucky, and who else was there? Alabama, someone else. But it has not been good for Tennessee on the road this season. I expect for Texas to easily cover the 3.5-point spread.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. We say it every time. Tennessee is not a good team. That there's just nothing that they do, like even that's good. Like, they're just average at everything, except their defense is really good. But on offense, they just don't do anything.
That's one I don't think they click. They have good shooters. They have Vescovi, Justin Powell. Kennedy Chandler is a pretty good shooter.
Yeah, there's no doubt they have a talented team. There's no doubt in that.
Yeah, definitely Texas minus 3.5 here at Texas. Tennessee has just been awful on the road this season. Going on to our matchups that we like outside of the SEC Big 12 Challenge, I'll start out with Nova and St. John's. This one, I don't really have an explanation, like offensive efficiency, defensive efficiency. It's pretty plain and simple. Going back to, I think, Villanova's second game since the start of December, it has alternated over, under, over, under, over, under. And we're due for an over. I'm going to go with over 139.5.
I like it. You got to stick with the trend sometimes.
Got to.
I'll stick with a trending team. I'm going to go with Houston -7. I guess is what it's at right now, right?
Yeah.
Because when I first looked, let me check the line movement really quick, but I'm pretty certain that it opened at -4. Yeah, this thing opened at -4 and it's already at -7. Houston's underrated team. They've been injured, but they're still really solid. They're well coached. They just play well, especially within that conference. It's a really weak conference. UCF has been really, really struggling. They were on a decent pace to be a really decent basketball team, but then they got ran over by USF a couple weeks ago, and that's kind of sent them into a downhill slope. So I like Houston.
Yeah, Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think Vegas sort of undervalues Houston since they had those is either two or three key injuries, but they are still a great team who I think can do some damage in the tournament. They sort of have made some noise the last couple years in March Madness.
Yeah.
They're a very well coached team. So I think going through our favorite picks, I'll start with mine. I had Texas Tech -7.5, Texas -3.5, and then the Villanova St. John's over 139.5.
My three favorites are going to be that Houston game. Love that Houston game. Alabama money line is my favorite play of the day. And I'll rock the Auburn over 135.
Okay. With that being said, I think that pretty much goes over everything with the SEC Big 12 Challenge and just about everything college basketball on Saturday. I'm going to go right into the NFL playoffs, the conference championships. Let's start out with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Cincinnati Bengals. I think all of America is going for the Cincinnati Bengals in this matchup. Unfortunately, I think the Chiefs are going to win. They've been my Super Bowl pick since the beginning of the season. I really like the Chiefs this year to bounce back after that embarrassing Super Bowl loss last year, since they cleaned up the offensive line holes that they had last year. And every single team has covered in the playoffs this year. That's why, or every single team that has won has covered in the playoffs this year. So I'm going to go with Kansas City -7.5.
I'm going to be on the flip side of that. I do like the Bengals at +7.5. You are right. Kansas City did clean up their offensive line, basically because they added the juggernaut Trey Smith. The 7.5 just seems a little too much for what was such a close game the first time around. I just don't think their defense can hang long enough. It kind of feels like Joe Burrow kind of has the secret sauce right now. They've got that lightning in a bottle feel to them. I don't know, maybe potential upset, but I do like to cover.
Yeah. I will say Joe Burrow seems to have it all figured out right now, but I think the Chiefs have lightning in a bottle just as much after last
that's
week's game.
true.
They look like they were clicking on all cylinders.
But
Not on
we're
defense,
we're really rooting against Jackson Mahomes here.
Jackson Mahomes and is it Brittany Mahomes? The two of them.
Just the champagne girl.
Yeah, both of them. They are not anyone's favorites. So I think that's who America's going against this week. Moving on to the next game. This is the third installment of this season. San Francisco 49ers and LA Rams. I always say this just about with any sport. It's hard to beat a team twice or three times, depending on how many times you play a team, depending on the sport. I think it's hard to beat a team three times in the NFL if it's a divisional opponent that you're going to play in the playoffs or anything like that. But with that being said, I think Kyle Shanahan has Sean McVay's number. And on top of that, I don't know if you've seen the videos, the clips of the 49ers walking out with the big boom box, walking out of the tunnel. Something about them right now. They've got this swagger, just like Joe Burrow. They've got this swagger whenever they're walking out on the field, and you just know Deebo Samuel is getting the ball every single time, and he's going to smash it just right up their throats every single time.
Yeah, I'm with you on this pick. I like the money line for the 49ers. It's like you said, it feels like it's a tough task to ask a team to go 3-0, but like you said, Kyle Shanahan got his number or got McVay's number. But the statistic is actually pretty cool. It's teams looking for the sweep in the past 20 or 30 years are 14-8. So the stats are actually on your side, are favoring the team that's going for the sweep. And we're due for a trash Stafford game.
That's what I have in my notes. I said I think both offenses are pretty one-dimensional, but something has to give with Matt Stafford.
Yeah.
Something has to give. We know we have seen him all season long. It's not like something just flipped because he's in the playoffs for once.
Nope.
Something has to give.
And on the flip side, we're due for a Garoppolo decent game.
Yeah, one
Because he
touchdown.
hasn't even played well.
Just give him a one touchdown. He's having a good
Yeah.
game. He hadn't had one. Just get him one. Yeah, I can't. If we just made this game about Deebo Samuel, I think I could go on and on for 30 minutes. He is the most electric player in the playoffs right now.
He is so fun to watch. What Kyle Shanahan has schemed for him is he's one of the best coaches that I've ever seen.
Like Kansas City -7.5, and I also like the San Francisco 49ers money line.
And then
Dallas.
I had the winning picks with the Bengals covering and the 49ers money line.
We made sure to stay away from the Jamar Chase touchdown this week. It has burnt us the last two.
Inevitably, he will score this week. You can almost guarantee it.
So take Jamar Chase multi-touchdown week. That's what I would expect.
I will not bet it.
Yeah, I'm not going to either. So that means y'all.
So it's in your favor. Yeah.
Y'all are going to make lots of money.
And you know what? Just to be fair, I will still gritty if he scores.
Yeah. Just be ready. Be plugged in on TikTok. You'll see the gritty.
It will be a spike gritty, but it'll be a gritty nonetheless.
Going off of that's our picks for this week. This, I think, is going to be one of the best weekends in sports we have of the year, easily. I mean, last week was amazing, but it wasn't like a planned week where it was just going to be that great. We just ended up having 4 insane divisional round playoff games. I think this one we've got conference championships, SEC Big 12 challenge. This one's going to be insane.
And I'm off on a Saturday.
Yeah,
that's magic right there.
There you go. So with that being said, we're going to wrap up this Saturday's episode of Two Broke Betters. Just remember to gamble responsibly. I hope you have a great weekend and hope you relax some with your friends and family and watch this great weekend of sports.
Love you.
There you go.